Good morning. My name is DePatie. I have been a parishioner for 35 years. I served as Parish Administrator from 1998 through 2017. This morning I'm going to talk about Peter Feely Walsh. 8 of the 10 years that he's been here, I had the privilege of working with him. In May of 2008, after the search committee had selected Peter as our rector, he came to the library in his first meeting with the staff. He had a terrible, terrible cold. He just kept coughing and driving us nuts, quite frankly. The thing that struck me about that meeting was his constant reference to his family. They moved here in July of 2008, and I can remember the morning his van came up to the parking lot and 2 adults emerged from this big, I call it a truck, it was a van, and this little boy, 4 years old, Phineas, their son. Well, they moved into the church house. Our commitment to the Walshes at that time was that they would be out of there in 6 months. They lived there 7 years. All this time, the property committee worked for years trying to find a place for them to live. And we finally came in 2015, I believe was, when we found and bought 89 Logan Road. Really early on. It was probably the second or third day, and I walked into his office, and the desk was in front of the fireplace. And I came in and sat down as I usually did, and he said, "I don't like this desk where it is." And I thought, what do you have in mind? So he gave me a long dissertation on how important furniture is in a room. And for the next several days, he experimented with moving the desk around and finally settled on the location where it is today. Every time I went in there after that, I chuckled to myself because I was satisfied where it was. It had been there for 30 years as far as I know. But he said it was important. My second episode occurred at Mayfair. And it happened about 7:20 in the morning, Mayfair morning. The power went off. Now at 7:20 on Mayfair morning, that's a critical time. Everybody's running around and everything's getting set up. The carnival rides were not affected because they had their own power. And 4 or 5 of us went down into the boiler room. There was Father Peter, Mark Thorsheim, Stan March, myself, and I think George Wright was there. So we're standing down in the boiler room and looking at this electrical panel. We had called Tony Ryan, but he was out of town and it was going to take him an hour to get there, and we said, that's not going to fly, we got to get this thing solved. So we stood looking at each other, not knowing what to do. Then Stan started looking down at one of the panels, and in small print it had some directions on it. Stan went through the steps by steps. There must have been 4 or 5 steps before you pull this lever down. Just before he starts to pull it down, Father Peter says to him, "In the event this blows up, we'll give you a nice funeral." Whereupon Stan pulled the lever and all the power went out. Thank God. And finally, I just want to talk a little bit about the Christmas pageant. When the Christmas pageant first came up, We're sitting in the staff meeting, and Peter says, "We got to have live animals." And we all looked around and said, "Sure, Peter." Live animals in the church? You're kidding? No way. Peter said, "No, we're going to have live animals." And of course, one of the people in the staff, one of the staff members said, "What happens if there's an accident?" He says, "That's the best." Why is it the best? No one will ever forget it. And he was right. I'm going to dwell a few minutes on his accomplishments, because during this 10-year period, he did magnificent work for this parish. The church is growing, it has grown since he's come here, in all age groups. The youth program, the Sunday schools are in outstanding shape. They're really thriving. The preschool is growing. We now have 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds, in addition to the 3 and 4s. The church is financially stronger. We've had a balanced budget for 10 years. The clergy, the staff, the officers, the vestry are now as positive and skilled as it has ever been. The cottage and the vicarage are in the finest condition they've been since I've been here. The rectory is in excellent shape. West Road and the columbarium are now in wonderful shape and being maintained. Solar panels have been added. There's more on the drawing board. The church is in really good shape. He always used a metaphor of the bus. He was driving the bus. He always liked the idea of having the right people in the right seats on the bus. He started that way when he first came here in July of 2008, his first meeting. And I'll say that he's done extremely well in filling the seats on that bus. And it was a pleasure for me to be a participant in sitting right behind the bus driver for a number of years, and I really enjoyed the opportunity. He had a lot of influence on my life, and I really appreciate what he did for me and for Molly. And I think he and his family are just the best, and that would include his sister and his brother and their spouses and kids and everything. We are very fortunate to have Peter, and I think he's the second love of my life. And I'll end it there.